night, hospitals can be some of the eeriest places on Earth. Silent halls, distant echoes, and the lingering scent of antiseptic. But what if I told you, sometimes it's not just the living who roam those cold, sterile corridors. Tonight, we dive deep into 3 terrifying true stories from inside real hospitals. Stories that will make you question what else is lurking in the shadows. These are not your typical horror tales. They're true. It was a typical shift for Nurse Carla. The clock had just struck midnight when she began her rounds in the ICU, checking on patients like any other night. But tonight felt different. The air was thick, and the light seemed dimmer than usual. As she entered room 306, she noticed an elderly man sitting by the window. Strange, she hadn't seen any visitors come in tonight. She approached the man, asking if he needed help. No response. His eyes were fixed outside, gazing into the black night. A chill ran down her spine. "Visiting hours are over," she said softly, but still, nothing. She reached out to touch his shoulder, but her hand passed right through him. Startled, she stepped back, her heart racing. Suddenly, the figure turned to face her, and as their eyes met, his expression twisted into a look of sheer terror. Without warning, he vanished, right before her eyes. The patient in the bed, still unconscious, remained unaware of the horrifying event. Later that night, Carla discovered the chilling truth. The man she saw was a former patient who had died in that very room years ago. The other nurses had seen him too, but no one spoke about it. They called him the Midnight Visitor. And from that night on, Carla would never walk past room 306 without a sense of dread. Sometimes it's not just patients who leave an imprint on a hospital. Clara, a new pediatric nurse, was finishing her shift when she heard it. Faint crying. It was the sound of a young girl, barely audible, echoing down the corridor. Strange, she thought. The children's ward was empty and visiting hours had long been over. She followed the sound, her footsteps growing quicker as the cries grew louder. It led her to a locked room at the end of the hall. Room 23, a storage room now, but once a ward for terminally ill children. Shivers ran down her spine as she recalled the stories. Decades ago, a little girl had died in that room, crying for her mother in her final moments. As she reached the door, the crying stopped. Clara hesitated, but pushed it open. The room was empty, save for the dusty equipment. She scanned the room, her heartbeat in her ears, when suddenly, a small, icy hand grabbed hers. Clara screamed and yanked her hand away, spinning around to see nothing. But she could still feel the cold grip lingering on her skin. She fled the room, swearing to never return. The other nurses told her the legend of the crying girl. Some said they'd heard her too, but Clara was the only one who ever felt her touch. Kevin was a night shift security guard at a hospital that had seen more than its share of death. The morgue was located in the basement, and every night he made his rounds, ensuring all was quiet and secure. But one night, things were far from quiet. As he walked past the morgue, he heard something, a faint tapping. He stopped, leaning in to listen. There it was again, a slow, rhythmic tap, like fingers drumming on a table. His radio crackled to life, startling him, but it was just static. He tried to brush it off, thinking it was the old pipes or the cold night air. But then, a chilling voice whispered from behind him, "Help me." Kevin spun around, but there was no one there. His heart pounded in his chest, and every instinct told him to run, but he stayed, frozen. The tapping grew louder. Slowly, he approached the morgue's cold metal door. He pulled it open, his breath visible in the icy air. There, lying on the table, was a body, but it wasn't still. The corpse's hand twitched, its fingers tapping the table in a slow, deliberate rhythm. Kevin gasped, stepping back. He knew this body. It had been brought in hours ago after a fatal accident. It shouldn't be moving. In the blink of an eye, the tapping stopped. The room fell silent. Kevin shut the door and ran upstairs, refusing to ever return to the basement alone. The next morning, the body was gone, transferred to another facility. But Kevin knew what he saw, and he wasn't the only one. Over the years, other staff had reported hearing that same tapping, as if the dead were trying to reach out one last time. These are the stories that haunt the halls of hospitals. They remind us that some spirits aren't ready to let go. So, the next time you find yourself in a hospital late at night, remember, you might not be as alone as you think. Have you ever experienced something strange in a hospital? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more spine-chilling stories. Until next time, sleep well.